Thank you for joining me. This will be my thoughts on Young Jedi Adventures Season 2, Episode 13, Just Like Wes / Raxlo to the Rescue. So, the show is for ages 6 and up, so will this video be. There will be spoilers for the episode as well as the show leading up to it, and potentially everything Star Wars up to this point. We'll see over the course of the video. And yeah, another good to great episode. So I think I'll start with so yeah, I thought the way that the character development, I like seeing Raxlo like this, and let's see the yeah, good messages. Yeah, I think, okay, I'll go scene by scene. I think that makes more sense for this. So, they did a good job with the trick that Wes knows, and Kai really wants to, so at first, Wes shows it, they're all impressed, and Kai tries, but fails, and then later he tries it again and still fails. And that actually is, at the risk of sounding a little too serious, considering I said, video's okay for 6-year-olds. I mean, some 6-year-olds do take, like, karate classes and such. If you have not yet mastered a move for self-defense or martial arts of any kind, don't try it in real life. Best case scenario, it just doesn't work. Worst case scenario, you might injure yourself. There's a reason that they have you do the same move a lot of times, and sometimes they'll make fairly minor adjustments. Like, it can seem annoying. I remember being annoyed by it, but they know what they're talking about. Most of them. I'm sure there's scammers out there. And yeah, incredibly important message. This, stated right there at the start. I want to be just like you, Wes. You're amazing, but you're amazing too, Kai. It's and it's one of those things. Children, a lot will look up to adults and try to be too much like certain adults, and it ends up causing problems. So very important message, and delivered fairly well, I think. And it is, of course, one of those you really got to suspend disbelief. I mean, it's for kids, and Star Wars asks us to suspend disbelief for a number of things. Would an adult really send children on some, like, he specifically says, refined coaxium, it's very dangerous. Just ask Han Solo. But don't get him started about that 1 week where he did every single thing that audiences know about his character. I kid. I still maintain that movie is better than one might think. Like, considering all the production problems and the whole thing of, like, do we really need a origin movie for Han Solo? Anyway, yeah, it's hard to believe, but without it, there's not really a story. And I do think it is, once you accept that is the story, that's how they're going to play it. Yeah, the fact that he keeps there's this repeated thing of, like, oh, it's dangerous. That's why that is not why they want it, but that helps set up that he says it's dangerous and valuable. So of course pirates are gonna want it, and we do need some justification for, like, wow, why are they so obsessed with the coaxium? Like, no, it's worth a lot. And yeah, they really push how much we're expected to buy. Like, from right away, they're not quite careful enough with it, and Wes is just like, oh well, I guess there's no. I don't really have a choice but to yeah, that I mean, I realize he had other things. It's not like he's gonna, you know, go down to the beach and then just get some sun or something. He had, I forget what he said, but he said he had some other important thing to do. But let's see. Yeah, throughout the episode, great choreography. Every single time there's some kind of combat, it's really well handled. And the getting so much, flying in space, and there's the giant spaceship chasing the smaller spaceship. Like, I'm sorry, I know it's for kids. It scratches the itch of Star Wars for me, Interesting to have so much flying and no Nash, though. But yeah, they fly, and there's the, comet runners. Also clever, we don't need much, just the line about, I told you following that Padawan would, yield results. So yeah, they've been following Wes around, which, like, yeah, it's not like the Jedi are like hiding or something. You can find them, and following him around, listening in somehow. I guess, I don't know, maybe the binoculars they have also greatly enhance sound. Sure, it's Star Wars. I can accept most things in Star Wars. Still not the biggest fan of the time travel-ish thing, but other than that, it was an interesting concept before they started time traveling. I like the idea of being able to see different points in time and such, just moving on. Yes, I thought that the fact that, so Kai is like, no, Wes wouldn't, do this, so I'm gonna do like Wes, and it causes some problems, and the other two are even saying, I don't know about this, that's another thing. I'm sorry, I like sue me. I like seeing, what did she call it, the exo genome, something like that, the snake in the asteroid. I like it. I like seeing it. I like when it snappy snap bites at ships. Makes me feel good to watch that. And the yeah, turns out didn't work. The comet runners also are really good at flying, and he flies through the other asteroid. Challenging, but incredibly like, just so fun and exciting to watch, And turns out the comet runners flew around. That was an option. And yeah, genuinely great combat at the at Zephyr's place. And the repeated thing of, be careful that it doesn't, I forget if they outright state that it explodes, but oh wait, is that unrefined? Wow, I do not remember. Maybe I need to watch the Han Solo, a Star Wars story. That still is like, what a title. But yeah, certainly, there's concern about it, and using the Force to dampen the landing for it, and everyone pairs up against someone to fight against, and also just this thing of like, playing keep away with the super expensive MacGuffin is just fun. And it's one of those things, like, it works, a lot of kids are going to recognize, oh, it's like keep away, and yeah, ultimately, the Gangles get away, and they carry out the first of two door mechanism sabotages in like 5 minutes. That I don't know, maybe there was a deadline or something, so they couldn't come up with something tiny bit more varied, but whatever. And the Kai sits down and he's like, I'm not Wes. And Liz, reaffirms, but you don't need to be. You're amazing on your own. And it's such an important, like, kids need positive affirmation. Technically, we all do. Yeah, if someone in your life is saying you should not get any positive affirmation, even when you're like doing well, doing good, that person might be toxic. I mean that metaphorically. I'm not saying they literally carry a some kind of venom or the like, but yeah, it's great to see both at the start and end of the or near end of this first story of the episode. And yeah, they yeah, he on his own he thinks of the plan, and also the thing about I have something Wes doesn't, the two of you, again, this thing of for one thing, he's good enough on his own. He doesn't have to be like this other person, and also he doesn't have to go it alone. Extremely important. We really do have to make sure people know, you don't, like, we are a social what's the term, species. We're social animals. We thrive when we work together. Individualism is a very harmful ideology, and we should do what we can to push back against it. And to be clear, yes, I am aware Disney is just woke washing. I know they don't really mean it, but if they get through to some people, yeah, we are working on getting Disney to do good instead of evil. And in the meantime, I'm just glad if at least some of their media encourages good rather than evil. It's one of those things, like, I think they think that as long as they woke wash, it'll be fine. They don't think that in the long term it's going to mean, less people are going to put up with the evil that they do and support, including Trump, who's going to hurt a lot of people in a very short amount of time. And yeah, we have to politically and non-violently do what we can to limit how much damage he's going to do. Yes, I think that does bring us to, yeah, so, they stack crates and climb. That also looked fun, stashing the, watching this episode really made me reconsider. See, recently I made the decision I'm not going to go back and replay the, I guess I'll call them the Kyle Katarn games. Dark Forces, Jedi Knight, and Jedi Academy are the three overarching titles. Because I've played them so many times, and I've got so many new games I want to play. I only have, my wrists can only handle so much playing, but boy did I miss the Jedi Academy, primarily the one of Jedi Outcast rather than one of the actual game Jedi Academy, which for some reason you spend less in-game time. Like, there's some cutscenes, sure, and you don't spend that much time Jedi training, which feels very weird to me, always has. Anyway, what was the next thing? Yeah, they get out of there and they manage to get to the ship and get they pull one of those amazing jumps. I still say they're really, since the prequel movies, Jedi have been really OP, but in the movies and shows, I mean, in the games, I realized they already were. There was some OP going on, at least, but yeah, very cool jump nonetheless. And I like that the pirates immediately realize there's not, there's no sneaking around on the ship, even though it seemed like it was gonna, nice expectation subversion. And then we have some more fighting, and he tries the move, but he needs more practice. Wait, was that on the ship? Or was that? Ah, crap, I forget. But yeah, and he's like, well, I don't need to be like Wes. I don't need to do that move perfectly. And they managed to get the coaxium and, yeah, do the second disabling of the door mechanism, jump out, and yeah, like at this point, what are they gonna do? The comet runners, like, they can't open the door. You know, if they cut a hole in it, they're gonna have to fix the hole before they can fly away. You know, at some point you gotta, you know, yeah, just accept, just take the L. And then we have the what's it called? Yes, they come back and talk to Wes, and you know, Akai, you know, admits, yeah, he is amazing on his own, and it's wonderful to see that kind of confidence. That's also something we need to encourage. Obviously, you know, be careful you don't get overconfident, and yeah, moving on. And yeah, he says, you know, I'm good on my own. I'm amazing on my own. However, I would like to learn the move, and yeah, Wes starts to teach him it. Although we don't hear very much of the instruction, maybe they were worried that kids at home would attempt it with the real lightsaber that totally exists. And yeah, that brings us to the second half of the episode. Yeah, just so glad to the Raxlo having. That was also a redemption arc, wasn't it? It was yeah, very nicely done on that. And yeah, the way that they, you know, at first they are like worshiping him, and at the very start he is foolhardy, and then later he does actual heroism. He does still need help, you know, and that's also, it's great to be a hero. It's wonderful, you know. I think Greta Thunberg is an inspiration to, you know, so many. It's just, it's amazing. I am, yeah, I admire her and many others that, you know, yeah, really go out there and do a lot for progressive causes. Yeah, uh, I don't think age 6 is too young of an age to know that we should all support, um, you know, we should fight for a free Palestine, and stop the Israeli government from their very evil actions. I guess I shouldn't say the exact word, but by now, if you're over 6, you probably know. And yes, it is indeed that word. The UN itself got to that conclusion. Netanyahu literally had to like fly a weird route just to avoid being arrested. You know, I think that says just so very much. And we had, was it the second walkout 2 years in a row when he tried to, when he gave his speech. So yeah, great to see it. Pretty ridiculous that he, when there is the arrest order out, is able to speak at the UN, but you know, we're getting there. We're you know, yeah. And yes, I think that does bring nicely to. So let's see. Yeah, you know, the message is again delivered well, and yeah, you know, he does care about the profit, but he is also, he does want to help with the Tenga. I don't think it was Jenga rocks. Certainly, if they were Jenga rocks, then be very careful about how you take out the rocks. Otherwise, it's all gonna come tumbling down. But the let's see, what was the next thing about? Yeah, so you know, the Gangles showing up. I guess this is the first time we've seen them as outside of, you know, so far away from the tower since they took the tower. But it does make sense that every so often they would leave, and yeah, you know, that they would be able to find out about the Tenga rocks. And let's see, yeah, you know, at first, like, he tries just with confidence, you know, he walks up, tells them, now I may just be a simple Star Wars chicken. And yeah, they do not respect his authority. And that is, of course, also something sad to say, but very true, and important for kids to learn. Some people just don't. If you tell them, listen, what you're doing is evil, stop. A lot of people aren't going to, and violence should always ever only be the absolute last resort. So I'm not advocating, I'm not really advocating for violence specifically, but I am saying, sometimes you have to do more than tell them. Yeah. And I think that does get us to. Um, I really enjoyed when the leader of the Gangles is like, "You kids again?" At some point, someone has to tell her what show she's on. Who's the lead? Who are the leads? Who's you know signing those paychecks? And they're about to give the big speech, and she's like, blah blah blah. There's always a speech, Charles. Nobody cares. And that brings us to the so yeah, they managed to great more great fighting. The Gingles do manage to um, yeah the little the net gun, which was named Toda Joe, cribbed from the Predator. But the yeah there's the conversation. At first he's hiding. Raxlo's hiding, but then he jumps out and tries to tell him, and he just gets netted too. um Net for nothing, I mean, not for nothing. And he realizes there's a little more. He has to think it through a little bit more. And yeah, he runs after, yelling in a comical slapstick fashion. That was, yeah, that wasn't bad. And yeah, the Jedi being like, what is he gonna do? We gotta go help him. And ultimately he does need their help, though at first he does better than one might think. And yeah, he goes up near the machine, and yeah, they try to like hit him with the Uno reverse card. I mean, the drill bit. And that was apparently his plan. So or it was evidently his plan. So he jumps up and starts climbing. I miss playing Prince of Persia games, although I did just get to play Distance. So I'll live. But yeah, that really reminded me of it. It's not the first time this show has done that, and I appreciate it each time. But yeah, then he manages to climb up and disable it with the switch. And I thought they did a good job of the tension there. I was genuinely not sure if he was going to succeed. Like, this kind of show, probably good guy's going to win by the end of the episode, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be him or the younglings who succeeded. And yeah, he almost gets all the way, but that she saves him from the big thing. And let's see. Yeah, ultimately, they do get away. And I did also feel like okay, kids, if any kids are watching this, if there's a what's he called, landslide victory inside of a cave, it might be much worse than what this episode shows. That I thought they were gonna have to like use the force to block so that they didn't get hit by it, but instead it was just him, and we have some more slapstick with him. Is it because he's a bird? Is that why they thought that he should have a lot of slapstick? But yeah, and it was amusing. His head sticking out of all the snow. But yeah, and he's like, you know what? I can't be a hero, but I'm gonna work with you other guys. So I don't know if anybody working on this episode was like, let's make both episodes require teamwork and someone being like affirmed and having to figure out exactly how to do a thing, because it's not like all the episodes are this thematically consistent across both stories, which I don't think is a problem. I just wonder if it was by accident this time or not. Anyway, yes, we have the yeah. So he radios out, and one of the kids, they call him a hero, obviously happy to help. Yeah, makes a snowball. So, kids, snow is this thing that used to exist before climate change. But unfortunately, there were a bunch of rich people who wanted to get even richer and didn't care that they were, yeah, doing significant harm there. I jest. I think there are still places where you can get snow, but it has definitely gotten worse. Like I remember, when I was a kid, yeah, we could like make a snowman just out of the snow that there was, and now like recent years, way less snow. Some years almost no snow where I live. Which is Denmark. Like I know we're not, it's Norway and Sweden that are the ski resorts, but we used to get a lot of snow nevertheless. Anyway, um, but yeah, and that was also, that's something that kids can relate to, the fun of a snowball fight. Um, yeah, and they do a good job. Um, I don't know. I'm developing an appreciation for kids media that uses snowball fights as like something that actually, I don't know, matters. I guess is the word. I still love the one in the first Hoodwinked, for example, as well. But yeah, they managed to use. Let's see. First, they damaged the treads, I think, and then um, they cut the power. They cut the power, and at first the Gangle leader's like, Snow is not going to defeat me, and yeah, not long after she's like, Snow has defeated me. Which yeah, I mean, I think any kid who's been in a snowball fight has had that uh, realization that maybe maybe a lot of snowballs can eventually uh, make you surrender.